And now, Knock 2 Studios presents Common Censored.
Let me tell you, folks, nobody does rap music like I do rap music. Nobody. Or trap, frankly. They call it trap. We're doing so well in the trap community. Nobody gets these bags like I do. Nobody wins bigly like I do. All these phonies, yeah, they might try to, but they're never gonna roll with my crew. I got hoes, yeah, frankly. So many hoes that I could tell you. And I'm not gonna stop cause we're still finding votes, okay? Dripped out in MAGA, I am the greatest. If she's a 10, she getting pregnant. Loyalty first, don't make a statement. I'll spin the block on all of you haters. So struggling. And the feds got eyes on me. Always treat me unfairly, but they won't get Hillary. Unbelievable, folks. Me and Kim Jong at Balenciaga. Golden showers up at Mar-a-Lago. But I'm the shit, yeah, that's the motto. Tough fact to follow. Sleepy Joe. So much money like I hit the lotto. Making deals on a yacht in Cabo. I do what I want, yeah, this bowl's a taco. It's tremendous. Nobody gets these bags like I do. Nobody wins bigly like I do. All these phonies, yeah, they might try to, but they're never gonna roll with my crew. I got hoes, yeah, frankly. So many hoes that I could tell you. And I'm not gonna stop cause we're still finding votes. That's right, fake news on my D, always trying to get the lead. So much jealousy, I'm just trapping with my G's. 6 models in the keys, my pillow, she's on her knees. Finish up, I believe, private jet, KFC. Stormy was lying and it's really huge. I fucked the game and I made it my boo. Out at the rally, drop bits for the queue to keep me amused. What the hell is going on? How could you ever think that I could lose? Hopped off the whip with some bands. My shooters are federal, so don't give them an excuse. Nobody gets these bags like I do. Nobody wins bigly like I do. All these phonies, yeah, they might try to, but they're never gonna roll with my crew. I got hoes, yeah, frankly. So many hoes that I could tell you. And I'm not gonna stop cause we're still finding votes, okay? Big shout out to ASAP, Kodak Black, Lil Wayne, right? Lil Wayne, Kanye. These are my people. These are my people. But nobody does it like me, right? Nobody.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Common Censored. Thanks for being here today, all of you lovely censored commoners. I'm Lord Sterling, and this is episode 343. U.S. and Russia seem to be working towards a rare earth deal and a cooperative partnership moving into the future that could be amazing. We got the details on that. Also, more on the Zelensky Oval Office tantrum fallout. Trump raising tariffs on China to 20% as TSMC chip giant invests $100 billion into the U.S. All that and a lot more on today's episode of Common Censored. Make sure to join us Monday through Friday, 6:45 p.m.-ish Eastern Time as we cover all the crazy clown world clusterfuck chaos with birds climbing all over the floor around me. Use hashtag Common Censored and hashtag infantry when you share the broadcast where applicable. You can find us on X at Lord Sterling _. We're also on Truth, Getter, Gab, and Minds. Thanks to our followers over on Rumble, new ones, and all of you, I guess. Appreciate you guys. Links to all the sources we covered today will be posted in the video description on Rumble immediately following the broadcast. Mama Mac will be adding timestamps as we go. So if you're watching this later on and you need to maximize the efficiency of your time, focus, and attention, click on down there. Look through the topics we cover and jump right to the point in the show where we cover the things you want to hear about. Throw Mama Mac some love over at alplama.com, your new herbal health guru. Try out some natural tinctures and avoid the petrochemical pharmaceutical industry that wants you sick and dependent. Thanks, Mama Mac. And if you want to support the show, you can hit up our link tree at Common Censored. Disclaimer. Views expressed on Common Censored are only opinions. Assume everything we say is false and research for yourself. We're not giving medical, legal, or financial advice. The only advice we are giving is think for yourself. Question authority. Think for yourself. Question authority. Boom! All right, let's jump into the news for today. That first video we played was Jason Scoop, an awesome Trump impersonator. Jason Scoop over here does hilarious stuff. I liked that rap. That was pretty awesome. Let's see what else he's got going on here real quick. Fun with the fake news. Let's check it out.
There she is, Caitlin Collins. We meet again. Such a nasty person. Unbelievable. Show the people. They won't show. Caitlin Collins. It's such a disgrace. Look at this guy. Unbelievable. Come here, sir.
Think of it.
Unbelievable. We do so well with the African Americans. You look at the numbers through the roof. There she is, Caitlin Collins.
Hilarious. Hilarious. We got Trapper in the chat. Trapper220. Good to see you, bro. Asking, is Common Censored authority? Definitely not. Don't trust anything I say. Think for yourself. Do your own research. Hilarious. You will respect my authority. Can't quite do the Cartman yet. Voice is still on the mend. But check out that guy's channel, Jason Scoop. He got threatened by Eric Bardrin last week, hilariously. He said, if there weren't any cameras, I'd break your neck. Oh, man, he really let Eric Bardrin have it. Let's hop over to our next news over here from Benny Johnson. Breaking, President Trump declares that TSMC, a leading Taiwanese chip giant, is pouring $100 billion into the United States. Let's check out this clip.
Today, Taiwan Semiconductor is announcing that they will be investing at least $100 billion in new capital in the United States over the next short period of time to build state-of-the-art semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think mostly it's going to be in Arizona.
He said manufacturing really funny there. Listen to that.
Semiconductor manufacturing facilities. I think mostly it's going to be in Arizona, which is what I understand, which is a great state. I like it because I won it, but I won most of them actually. But we won it. And we won it big. The most powerful AI chips in the world will be made right here in America. And it'll be a big percentage of the chips made by his company. But as you know, they're based mostly in Taiwan. And they're far and away the biggest. There's nobody even close. This $100 billion in new investment will go into building 5 cutting-edge fabrication facilities in the great state that we just discussed, Arizona, and will create thousands of jobs, many thousands of jobs, and they're high-paying jobs. In total, today's announcement brings Taiwan Semiconductor investments to about $165 billion they've started already.
Boom. Let's go. That's some good news. Loki flipping up my collar over there, talk show. Thanks for pointing that out. Oh, man. So I like this. We need to be making chips here and not potato chips, man. We're moving into the internet age, deeper and deeper into the technological era. So we need to be independent and self-sufficient when it comes to manufacturing technology, medicine too, big, and food. We got to bring all that stuff back home, baby. Back home. How about this? Just in, DOJ and FBI launch investigation into the $20 billion the gold bars that were being thrown off the Titanic, parked at an outside financial institution in a last-minute heist by Biden's EPA. Lee Zeldin not having it. EPA Chief Lee Zeldin asked an Inspector General to investigate the $20 billion in gold bars heist by Joe Biden's EPA. Quote, I just had this letter sent to the EPA Office of the Inspector General concerning the Biden EPA gold bars scheme, Lee Zeldin said, quote, recent findings reveal a pattern of reckless financial management, blatant conflicts of interest, astonishing sums of tax dollars awarded to unqualified recipients, and severe deficiencies in regulatory oversight under the prior administration, the letter to EPA Inspector General Nicole Murley read. And real quick, thanks to 343, the chat orange man, rad over there with a $10 Rumble rant for feeding the tweet. Loki, will you please say thank you? Can you say thank you? Come on, you can say something. She'll talk eventually, Threeper. She's a little camera shy, just a little bit. Come on, say something. Tweet now. Thanks, man. Appreciate you, brother. Boom. It was revealed in the statement that the FBI and DOJ are currently investigating the scheme. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, you're going to be in trouble over there. Given the severity of the alleged misconduct, waste, conflicts of interest, and potential fraud within the GGRF program, the administrator is conducting a comprehensive review. Concurrent investigations by the DOJ and FBI are underway. The letter stated, Citibank has frozen the $20 billion that was earmarked for the 8, quote, green entities amid the ongoing DOJ and FBI investigations, more like red entities, because if you're getting taxpayer money, you're effectively a commie organization. Let's be real. That's how communism works. So they're not green entities, they are red entities, in my opinion. Here's the full letter that he sent over here if you want to read the entire thing. Link will be in the description after the show. So this will be interesting to see what happens. As previously reported, an EPA advisor was exposed in a Project Veritas undercover video admitting that the agency rushed to allocate billions of taxpayer dollars to climate change initiatives just before President Donald Trump's inauguration. Here's the video, all the details in here. Good stuff. We need investigations. We need prosecutions. This is crazy, man. You steal $20 billion from the EPA. Yeah, Tokcho. Green is the new red. We call them watermelons, Tokcho. We call them watermelons because they're green on the outside and red on the inside. The commie bastards. Watermelon sons of bitches. So, good stuff over there. Investigate. Here we have trending on X also. Trump raises China tariffs to 20% amid trade tensions. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order to increase tariffs on imports from the People's Republic of China from 10% to 20%, effective Tuesday, tomorrow. This decision is part of a broader trade policy move that also includes imposing tariffs on Canada and Mexico, citing issues. If I'm going to say Mexico, then I should say Canada, eh? Imposing tariffs on Canada, eh? And Mexico, raising issues like the fentanyl crisis, among other reasons. The increase in tariffs has already caused reactions in stock markets and raises concerns about international trade relations. So raising the tariffs on China to 20%. Winnie the Pooh over here, probably not too happy about that. Poor Winnie. Poor Winnie the Pooh. So that's pretty good. Tariffs, we got to reverse the giant sucking sound as the China and other countries have just been sucking our productivity out. Turned it into a giant blowing sound because blowing is the opposite of sucking, right? Or is it the same? I don't know. How about this one? Pam Bondi over the weekend talked with Mark Levin and said that the people who, the people who lied to her, assuring her that there were only 120 pages. Oh, there she goes. Now she wants to talk. Reveals that any FBI officials who withheld docs, quote, will not be working for us anymore. That's it. Pam Bondi, that's kind of a disappointment statement. I want, I want arrests. They should be pilloried. They should be, prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Maybe shot out of a human cannon into the center of the sun. But just not working for us is not enough. Pam Bondi, not enough. So this was one of the results of the catastrophic dumpster fire of a release surrounding the long-awaited Jeffrey Epstein files on Thursday. So we need more than that. If you guys haven't seen we'll check it out real quick.
Welcome back, America. We're here with, and I'm very excited about this, Attorney General Pam Bondi, a good friend, especially a good friend of my wife, but a wonderful lady, a great lawyer. Welcome to the program, Madam Attorney General. I want to get into this Epstein thing a little bit. I think the American people are very curious about who's on this list, or these lists. You have been doggedly trying to get all the information. And now we learn, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York. Do you want to explain that?
Yes, Mark. So as you know, we released about 120 pages of documents, and I started asking for these documents right when I came into office and before Kash Patel was in there. So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of sex crimes and sex trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them. So I'm going through it and I kept saying, there has to be more, there has to be more. I'm assured that's it. Kash asked the same questions. Assured there's no more. I found out, this week that a source told me New York, SDNY, they're sitting on thousands of pages of documents regarding Epstein.
Yeah, not surprising. We have images of some of the tubs of CDs and VHSs and all this stuff that had been confiscated from Epstein Island and the ranch, etc. We need all of it.
Thousands. And of course, you've seen the very strong letter. We will get everything. We will have it in our possession. We will redact it, of course, to protect grand jury information and confidential witnesses, but the American people have a right to know. And Donald Trump is the most transparent president in our nation's history. So not only will America get the full Epstein files, they will get JFK, they will get Martin Luther King.
Well, that's fantastic, but I assume the Southern District of New York is, or has been, holding on to this information for a reason. That is, they don't like the names on the list. And, of course, we know New York is a hotbed of the Democrat Party, and that includes in legal circles. Do you think that's part of the issue here, that they're trying to protect a lot of names and individuals?
Mark, I have not reviewed the information yet. And as a lawyer, as a prosecutor, I want to review everything before I make a firm conclusion. But I think it's very interesting that they withheld that from us. And I will find out who withheld it, and they will not be working for us anymore.
So once all that's gathered, you're just going to put it out in the public with the obvious necessary redactions, including the people who were the victims and the phone numbers and so forth. But for the perpetrators,
no idea, Chief Oaks.
I assume that we'll see those names. Yes.
Well, certainly, there's nothing can be withheld on that. Of course, as you know, grand jury information, anything confidential, will be withheld under the law. And we're going to do everything in our power to protect the victims so they're not further victimized also.
Let me ask you a question kind of in this vein, and it may be too early to know because you just got to the Department of Justice. This guy, Jack Smith, his team of lawyers and so forth and so on, do we know yet, and I happen to know that is a big damn department with a lot of people, and so it just takes time to figure things out, but do we happen to know yet whether they complied with all the requirements of the Presidential Records Act and the Espionage Act? That is, did they store all their materials for you folks to look at when you choose to look at it? Do we know that, or did they remove or destroy any of it?
Mark, that's what we're looking at now. We're going through all of that. And now that I just got Kash Patel in as FBI director, he's, of course, a tremendous help. I've been in office, barely 2 weeks, and it feels like 2 years. We are going nonstop. We will get to the bottom of that. And as you know, the first thing I did was fire the Jack Smith team. That was the ultimate weaponization of our country and our government.
Don't you get a little frustrated, or worse, I would, reading stories about how...
Yeah, I get a little bit frustrated, and just firing people is not good enough. I'm not ready fully yet to throw Pam Bondi under the bus. I definitely don't trust her. Like Mama Mac pointed out, she was AG in Florida when Epstein got a deal and was just able to sleep in jail and leave whenever he wanted during the day. So don't fully trust her. But people change. We seemingly have really flipped people like Marco Rubio and even J.D. Vance, who used to be against Trump. And Greg Foreman over Black Conservative Perspective was pointing out that these people know what it's like to, especially Marco Rubio, knows what it's like to be Trump's enemy, and they don't want that. So they're seemingly turning into some of the biggest Trump loyalists now. But the firings have indeed begun at this point. Ian Yeager over here breaking. James Dennehy, head of the FBI field office in New York, was just, quote, forced out via MSDNC. Charlie Kirk posting about it too. Breaking, the head of the FBI field office in New York, James Dennehy, has just been forced to resign his post. He claims he was not given a reason why. Because you're working on blocking all this shit, man. Blocking all this shit. He claims he was not given a reason why, but the DOJ has accused his office of refusing to hand over a trove of Epstein documents to Attorney General Pam Bondi. After President Trump was elected, Dennehy also told his office to dig in. You guys might remember that. We have another post about it also from War Clandestine over here. Here we go, he says. Head of the FBI New York office, James Dennehy, forced to resign, aka fired. This is the same New York office that withheld Epstein files from AG Bondi. This is the same guy who told the FBI to, quote, dig in, unquote, after Trump wanted details on who was investigating January 6ers. Looks to me like Cash and Bondi are identifying the deep state rats standing in their way. In other words, Cash and Bondi are addressing the situation, and everyone needs to be patient. Deep state is fighting back, but the wheels are moving. I'm sort of leaning in that direction too. I'm thinking that, they're being obstructed at every possible level, and they're hopefully doing their best to try to get around it. We'll, I'm open to alternate interpretations of what's going on, but I think it's too soon to be able to make a decision yet on that. We also have Owen Schroyer talking about it. Alex Jones posting the clip. Breaking bombshell, head of FBI New York. Agent James Dennehy, who was reportedly hiding truckloads of key Epstein evidence and files, has forcibly resigned. Let's check out Owen breaking it down.
Head of FBI New York, James Dennehy, forcibly resigns in latest shakeup at the Bureau under the Trump administration. The head of the FBI in New York City resigned today. The highest level shakeup at the Bureau under the Trump administration. I don't know if that's true. We have a new director now, but James Dennehy, a well-regarded leader in the New York law enforcement community, this is ABC News, of course, puffing him up, told the office he was forced to submit his resignation as an assistant director in charge of the FBI's New York field office. Top FBI official forced out after criticizing Trump pursuit of agents who investigated January 6th. He said to dig in after the new administration requested the names of all agents who worked on Capitol riot cases. So could this be about January 6th? Could this be about the Epstein list, the lack of answers? Could there be something else going on here? But the shakeup continues.
That's right, T-folks.
Well, we're all sitting here wanting answers when it comes to the Epstein list and perhaps
cannabis.
More specifically, when it comes to who is hiding the list or who is keeping it from Pam Bondi's desk and that whole debacle. But really, we just want answers. Who is Epstein working for? Who are his clients? Who is being blackmailed? And then when are arrests going to happen? What is the investigation into
Dirk,
the people trying to stop us from getting the truth, going to produce some results? Well, maybe we have a result here today. Head of FBI New York, James Dennehy, forcibly resigns in latest shakeup at the Bureau under the Trump administration.
For
the
real,
head of the
Dirk.
FBI in New York City resigned
You know
today.
exactly why.
The highest level shakeup at the Bureau under the Trump administration. I don't know if that's true. We have a new director now. But James Dennehy, a well-regarded leader in the New York law enforcement community, this is ABC News, of course, puffing him up, told the office he was forced to submit his resignation as an assistant director in charge of the FBI's New York field office. Top FBI official forced out after criticizing Trump pursuit of agents who investigated January 6th. He said to dig in after the new administration requested the names of all agents who worked on Capitol riot cases. So could this be about January 6th? Could this be about the Epstein list, the lack of answers? Could there be something else going on here? But the shakeup continues. And let's see if we get any results now that this guy is out of the way. And, of course, who replaces him is going to be very important as well. But top FBI bureaucrat out in New York as the people are waiting for answers on the Epstein client list and more. Wonder if this was a direct result of even Kash Patel himself. Owen Schroyer here, host of the Info.
Boom. We also have Ian Carroll with an interesting take over here saying, we don't need the Epstein files. If AG Pam Bondi wanted to go after sex trafficking, pedophile, blackmailers, she has everything she needs to open numerous investigations already online. Hell, just this video is enough to get you started, Pam. We're waiting. Let's check out what Ian's saying over here.
I don't know why no one's saying it, but we don't actually need the Epstein files. Pam Bondi has thoroughly disgraced herself by promising a whole bunch of shit and after weeks not delivering on any of it. Somehow she was dumb enough to think that 200 pages was like all the Epstein documents. Like, girl, have you ever been on the internet? I'll show you where the Epstein files are. See, look, Julie gave you the link right there, vault.fbi.gov. There's like 10,000 pages. There's blackouts all over them. Click on that link, it'll bring you here. See, brings you here. There's all these different parts. When you go to them, look, 104 pages in this one. The first ones are always these indexes. And then everywhere where you see a rectangle, that's a blacked out redaction that we could have unredacted. Look, a whole page of redactions. That's crazy. Look, Rodriguez was employed as a chauffeur, butler, house manager for blank at blank. Wonder what that says. Residence blank. Rodriguez worked for blank for approximately 6 months. Rodriguez stated that blank. That would probably be pretty useful if that was unredacted. According to Rodriguez, redacted. Look, Pam, a page that you could release. And there's all kinds of pages just like this. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents like this already in the FBI vault online. There's handwritten notes from victim interviews like this. Jeffrey Epstein purchased tickets to blank for holiday break Xmas. Wonder what that means. Who picked her up? Man, this would sure be useful to have unredacted.
Had to bring Loki downstairs because she was being a little biting bitch. It happens.
Someone felt uncomfortable, went home to blank. Jeffrey Epstein said blank and blank. Thought that meant he would pay. For what? Talked to blank and blank, number from blank. Geez, this page seems to be clearly discussing more plans to travel with them, probably to the island. And all of that is from an interview conducted by SA, meaning Special Agent blank. And its subject was biographical file on blank. Who knows who it was? Gosh, sure would be useful. I mean, you could still even protect the victim's identity and just fill in some of the gaps. If the DOJ was at all serious about doing anything about this, there are infinite leads that they could currently be chasing down to actually bring people to justice. People that are still alive and still engaging in these activities, because these activities are still being engaged. And you know what? You don't even need to go to the FBI files to start bringing down the big fish. I got one for you right here. Meet Leslie Wexner, the bankroll behind the entire Epstein operation. Homeboy is the CEO of 3 different prominent companies that have been operating sex trafficking rings that have now been exposed. But just so we're clear, he is still scot-free, living in Ohio, doing old mob boss shit on his 336-acre super mega mansion. It's worth $47 million. He's doing great. That's $47 million of human trafficking.
Mama Mac coming through with the best idea yet. Pam Bondi should hire Ian. Absolutely. That would be so based. Oh, man. Can't even imagine. It'd be so good.
And in case you've never read One Nation Under Blackmail, let me give you a little bit of details about Leslie Wexner from this book by Whitney Webb. Seriously, Pam Bondi could just read this book and she could bring down like 10 human traffickers tomorrow. In 1990, as previously mentioned, Epstein had become head of the Wexner Investment Company and Wexner's top money manager, ousting his predecessor, Harold Levin. A year later, in July 1991, Wexner had handed near complete control of his affairs over to Epstein and a far-reaching power of attorney document. This is big. The document, among other powers, gave Epstein the ability to ask, demand, sue for, recover, collect, and receive all sums of money on Wexner's behalf, as well as take over, buy, sell, or transfer property, tangible or intangible. That's insane. That means that Jeffrey Epstein could buy and sell Leslie Wexner's companies at will. He could manage all of his money and assets at will. And this power of attorney is significant because it means that Epstein could engage in these activities without Wexner's knowledge following the signing of this document.
So Epstein probably got dirt on Wexner and then was like, listen, you're going to give me a lot of money. Otherwise, you're going to be exposed. And so secured a massive funding source to continue its operation.
Thus, after this point, and up
opinion,
until the 2000s, it is hard to know what decisions of Wexner's may have been made solely by Epstein. And that's the strategy piece, is Wexner uses this as a shield to say that he had nothing to do with it. He got fooled by Epstein. It's probably just a coincidence that Leslie Wexner's other giant fashion brand, Abercrombie & Fitch, was also running a sex trafficking ring targeting boys. This just broke this year when the CEO got arrested and charged. Just couldn't help this tidbit. Under the leadership of CEO Mike Jeffries, Abercrombie & Fitch underwent a meteoric rise, focusing on teen fashion and specifically the good-looking, cool kids, as in all the little boys that Mike liked to fuck. So in 1988, Leslie Wexner's company, The Limited, bought Abercrombie & Fitch, which is also Hollister. And then he immediately put in Mike Jeffries as CEO. Mike Jeffries was Leslie's guy. I'm sure that is just a coincidence. Oh yeah, and then the company launched a children's product line, Abercrombie Kids. Hooray! And now when you search for this information, it's come out that Mike Jeffries is going to take, dementia as his excuse. He's had dementia all this time that he was raping boys. We should probably just let him off scot-free. I'm sure Leslie Wexner had dementia for the 30 plus years that he was bankrolling all of these gigantic human trafficking sex scandal blackmail rings. Not to mention when he founded the Wexner Heritage Foundation, the Wexner Foundation, all these foundations that are specifically about empowering Israel and advocating for Israel's international interests. Oh, what's up, Gigi? That's not to mention when he founded the Mega Group, which by all indications was a group, a conglomerate of very powerful, specifically Jewish billionaires that was devoted to somewhat below board operations to promote Israel. Espionage. Back to a few.
Imagine my shock.
Two more gems from Whitney Webb. Former Israeli intelligence official Ari Ben-Menashe, so he's an ex-Mossad spy, alleged that Epstein's sexual blackmail operation was created at Israel's behest specifically to blackmail President Bill Clinton. Ben-Menashe specifically said the following. This is the quote up there, but this part that Whitney added is more concise. As previously mentioned in Chapter 6, Israel had allegedly been behind the effort to blackmail President Carter through his brother Billy Carter. It is also worth noting that Epstein's blackmail operation is believed to have been set up in 1991.
There was some pretty compelling evidence that Monica Lewinsky may have been an operative for Mossad, allegedly, to get blackmail info on Clinton as well.
The same year, the Mega Group was created by Epstein's closest associate, Leslie Wexner. Also, right when Epstein started managing all of his money. Also, right when they bought up Abercrombie & Fitch and started a trafficking ring in Abercrombie & Fitch as well. And oh my God, it's just a conspiracy. These are just made up opinions by Whitney Webb. She's just a conspiracy theorist. Like, you don't even have any evidence. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. But these are the sources cited for just that single chapter about Leslie Wexner's philanthropy. That's one chapter. All of those are sources that you can check yourself. So Pam Bondi, it's really cute that you're doing all these media appearances and pretending to care and pretending to be transparent with the American public, but we see through it. And if you were really here to bring criminals to justice, to stop human trafficking, to save the kids that are being trafficked by the tens, hundreds of thousands to this day in America, you have endless places to start. And you could start by just going off of any of the publicly available information about all of Jeffrey Epstein's many co-conspirators and just going and poking around, maybe do an interview, maybe ask a few questions. But something tells me that if the Epstein files implicate Israel, which they do, we're probably not gonna get them from Pam. It's a little awkward out here right now.
A little awkward, a little bit awkward. Agreed. It's a little awkward right now. We need that information. And we will not rest until we get it. If you guys like the show, I need your support. Smash that join button over on Rumble and toss us $5 a month if you can afford it. That would be awesome. Let's see what we got next. Pretty good take from Ian over there. We have Mario Nafal posting some information from Elon as well. Elon's take when he was on Joe Rogan the other day. I haven't gotten to watch the full podcast yet, but there was a lot of really good takes and information in clips that I saw. Let's check out this one. And I think this is a pretty reasonable take. It's like, Pam Bondi comes in. Trump is the new captain. Pam Bondi is the new first mate, and they have to get all the sailors to start obeying their orders. And it's just seems like a process that might take a little bit, unfortunately. So there's still hope, in my opinion, guys.
I mean, I think Pam Bondi is actually great, and Kash Patel are great, but they just got there,
Right.
So then they just got there, but they're in a hostile environment. They're not in a friendly environment.
Right.
So, it's like if you suddenly got put in captain of a ship, but the crew was previously your enemy.
Right.
The entire crew was
Right.
previously your enemy. It's not like you have like magical powers. You get made captain of a ship with a hostile crew. You still have a hostile crew.
Right.
You've got to bring in people who are going to, be helpful as opposed to obstructionist.
Right.
But yeah, I think the public will be rightly
Thanks, Cheddar.
frustrated.
So gross.
If no one is prosecuted for the Epstein client list, no one at all. Like at least, I don't know, the top 5 or something, like some number. There should at least be an attempted prosecution of the worst offenders.
Yeah, we need to prosecute all of them. Insane. Bondi and Cash could be in covert hostile environments, says Florida Now. 1, when people don't give you the information you requested, you have problems internally. We know the evidence they cleared from his home. Here are some images right here of stuff allegedly captured from one of these places. In other news, Ghislaine Maxwell. That was a really bad Norm. Norm MacDonald. In other news, Ghislaine Maxwell becomes the first person ever to be convicted of trafficking children to nobody. Oh, man. R.I.P. Norm. Yeah, and of course, the official Jeffrey Epstein pedophile arrest counter still at 0 makes me really, really mad. Really mad. So hopefully we get some positive updates in the near future. I understand the whole ship metaphor, and it's like, it's got to be really hard to wrangle these fucks and to figure out who's blocking information and to get these people to actually comply and obey their orders. So I'm willing to give a little bit of leeway. If I had some preparation time, Dirk, I could have done a lot better with the Norm MacDonald. But we love Norm. Too bad everything what happened to him, we love Norm. How about this one? Shot in the dark. Thanks, Mama Mac, for sending this to me. Episode 14. This is about the MMR jib jabs from Candace Owens. It's one of the most controversial vaccines on the market, and Candace brings you key information you need to know to make an informed decision. Plus, is there a connection between autism and the MMR vaccine? What is Japan seeing with the MMR vaccine that the rest of the world isn't? Join Candace as she unpacks the controversy.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of A Shot in the Dark. And today we are going to be extremely controversial because we are going to be talking about the MMR vaccine, which I would say, without a doubt, we all know is the most controversial vaccine on the market. Why?
So check this out. Link will be in the description. I'll post it in the chat for you guys right now. If you want to save it, open up a new tab to check it out later. Looks like it's going to be a really good episode. So thanks for sharing that with me, Mama Mac. Maybe we'll come back and watch a little bit later. But we're still on the PooTube. So it sounds about right. Sounds about right. Cannabis connoisseur. So we will be back maybe in a little bit to check that out. If not, link is in the chat for you guys to scope it out. But I guarantee you that's going to be real bombshell stuff right there. In another bombshell, we had Stuart Rhodes, who was on Lady Hamilton's show like last Monday, I think it was. Yeah, Monday. Go over there to Lady Hamilton's show, Lady Hamilton Art on Rumble. Give her a subscribe and check out her interview with Stuart Rhodes. She's got tons of great interviews with tons of high-level people. Really good stuff. So check out her show. She's live right now also. FYI. But here we have a breaking January 6th bombshell from Alex Jones. The Biden DOJ allegedly offered to drop charges against Oath Keepers and Proud Boys leaders if they falsely claimed that President Trump told them to attack the Capitol. Good for these guys, man. Good for these guys. Standing strong, willing to go to jail instead of rolling on POTUS. That's loyalty right there, man. And they got serious sentences, too. So they were really willing to go to the mat for Donald Trump and not lie about what happened on January 6th. Mama Hood in the chat. Mama Hood, good to see you. Thanks for joining us today. Our friend, one of our fellow Darksiders that's always hanging out over at Dark Side Radio with Darth Jason on Rumble. Subscribe to Bill Dozer. Subscribe to Lady Hamilton Art. Subscribe to Darth Jason, to Unique Prepper. Lots of good people in our group of friends over here on Rumble and YouTube. Check them out, guys. You will love Darth Jason and Dark Side Radio. So the deep state over here, the DOJ tyrants threatened the innocent men and women with life in prison if they did not bear false witness against Trump. Break the commandments to save your own skin. This is a powerful must-watch /share in-depth interview with the founder of Oath Keepers and former political hostage, Stewart Rhodes. I've known about Stewart Rhodes and the Oath Keepers since 2008, since the Ron Paul Revolution era. And I have big respect for the Oath Keepers, big respect for Stewart Rhodes. So even more now, knowing that he stood strong and refused to lie and roll on President Trump.
So in all of our cases, both Oath Keepers and Proud Boys and other cases as well, people were encouraged to say, hey, if you just say that Trump told you to go do that, told you to go into the Capitol, told you whatever it was they're accused of, we'll let you go. So I know Enrique Tarrio was offered that directly, to put a piece of paper in front of him, written out, and say, if you'll sign on to this, that Trump told you to send the Proud Boys into the Capitol, we'll let you go home. He told him to go fly a kite. In my own case, Kelly Meggs, one of my leaders from Florida, was told, hey, if you say Stewart Rhodes told you to go into the Capitol, you can go home. He said no. So myself, they offered all of us a deal. They said, hey, we're going to seek life in prison. They threatened us in a letter. I was in solitary confinement and I got this letter, and it said, we consider this analogous to treason, so we're going to ask the court for life in prison. You have X amount of days, I think it was 10, 15 days.
So we have Eye Patch McCain with Dan Crenshaw. Who's this? Eye Patch Patton? Somebody cool? Somebody on our side? Give me suggestions for Eye Patch nicknames for Stewart Rhodes. Eye Patch McCain, the evil Crenshaw. Who's this? Eye Patch blank. You fill in the blank. Let me know in the chat.
To cut a deal. The only deal I could have cut, because I was at the very top of the Oath Keeper pyramid, was I would have been asked to turn on President Trump, and I refused to do that. So I cut no deal with them. They didn't make me a direct offer. I just told my attorneys to tell them I'm not making any kind of plea agreement whatsoever.
The government fears Alex Jones.
He could be Eye Patch Sterling, Eye Patch General Lord Sterling, who exposed the Conway cabal that was trying to overthrow the Eye Patch Revere. That's a pretty good one, Bill Dozer. But Lord Sterling, the Major General, they attempted to co-opt him and turn him against George Washington as the Conway cabal sought to overthrow Washington. And he exposed it and refused and helped keep Washington in power. But I kind of, I don't want him to take my name, but I don't know, just a kind of an interesting parallel.
Has the largest audience in the country, bigger than any of the networks, the biggest megaphone in the country.
The deep state hates Alex Jones with a vengeance.
Alex Jones is the most extraordinary person I've ever met.
Wow. We have the king of the apocalypse. I thought that would be Satan. Or Mao Zedong, or Genghis Khan, or the Black Death, the bubonic plague. No.
Wendy,
we have the king of the apocalypse with us for the rest of the hour. Yes, that's what MSNBC, that's what Netflix, that's what they're all calling Stewart Rhodes, my old friend. I've been interviewing this guy for decades since he founded the Oath Keepers. He used to work in Ron Paul's office in Congress. He's been a lawyer in the past, as a practice now.
He's Ron Paul. He's legit. He's with us,
but
guys.
He's best known for not just being the founder of the Oath Keepers, No, he's best known for being one of the supposed ringleaders of the seditious conspiracy.
Eye patch peanut.
What he really is a vindicated, validated American patriot.
Cyclops
1776
of Rhodes.
2.0.
That's
former
fire.
political prisoner and former political hostage of the people that really orchestrated January 6th and who had to get pardons from Biden for doing it. The great Stuart Rhodes, the king of the apocalypse. January 6th was worse than 9/11, worse than Pearl Harbor, even though 4 citizens were killed by the out-of-control feds and the federal agitators that started it all. Now, I want to get into what it was like, the 3+ years of captivity, the show trials in the District of Mordor, all of that with you. But I used to always love to have you on for your great analysis of the world, America, the Second American Revolution that you've been predicting that now is apparently here. How do you think the deep state's going to strike back and more? But still, when you fly, they mark you as an evil person with this SSSSS thing. We'll show that. Overhead shot, please. But here we have the king of the apocalypse with us right now. Stuart Rhodes, great to have you here.
Good to see you again, Alex.
Good to see you, brother. Wow.
Good to be free again.
Man, where would you like to begin first?
Well, the night of the inauguration, President Trump kept his word, and about 11:30 at night, I got a knock on my cell door, said, "Pack your crap, you're out of here." So that was, quite a moment. But I knew it was going to happen. I knew that if he won, he was going to keep his promise to us. Unfortunately, though, there's 14 of us that were commuted but not pardoned. And a lot of us are veterans, and like Joe Biggs is one, Dominic Pizzola, and Joe Biggs is an 82nd Airborne veteran. I was an airborne paratrooper myself, and so we need to have our rights fully restored. So we're going to be asking President Trump for a pardon for all of us.
That's how you lost your eye, was the military?
No, that was
a gun.
Civilian life, right? So in the military, I had a compression fracture in my spine and a bad parachuting accident. So I was rated at 50% disabled by the VA. But we got a nasty letter while I was in solitary confinement. The VA sent me a letter saying all your benefits are stripped from you. You can no longer be buried in Veterans Cemetery, which is a great insult to us veterans. And
That's
all of us
insane.
veterans in the same position. There's 14 of us. Either Oath Keepers or Proud Boys that were singled out for that. I'm not sure why.
What do you make of Jeremy Brown, the former Green Beret, that they tried to set you guys up months before, and the FBI came to him and then said he went public on this show and went to J6 trying to stop it. Then they set him up with hand grenades, got caught. Trump now has released him. I mean, he's key to exposing how it was an inside job.
Well, yes, he blew the whistle, to his credit, blew the whistle back in, I believe it was December of 2020 when they approached him and he put the audio out, into his honor, exposed with their criminality. And in revenge for that, they planted fake evidence on him. I don't think anyone predicted January the 6th was going to turn out the way it did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been there, right? We wouldn't have been at the Capitol. So I don't think it's quite accurate to say that. Certainly, he knew that they were trying to infiltrate us. That's what.
Well, I mean, he came on the show and warned they're planning something big at one of the events. Is my point.
Sure. Yeah. But you still have an obligation and duty to show up and.
That's second, third order thinking. That wasn't my statement. Obviously, we have to go have rallies. We can't be paralyzed.
Right.
He was just warning. They're trying to infiltrate and set up, which we now know the FBI director lied and said they didn't. They did.
And at my trial, I found out I went to call a witness. And I'm still under a gag order. I can't say the person's name, but the New York Times outed this person, so I'm good to go. God took care of that. But we found out at trial, I went to call this person as a witness, and they told us, well, actually, he works for us. So that's what I want to see done. I want to see every single FBI informant that ever worked for the FBI over the last 8 years just list all their names and put it out publicly, so everyone knows who their rats are. Because they're still out there right now.
Let's do it.
They're still out there and trapping people.
Absolutely. My point about Brown and others is he's key in showing that they were running around beforehand trying to stir stuff up and get it ready.
And this is during Trump's.
Yeah, remember they went to Jeremy Brown's house, asked him to go there and, sabotage MAGA in one way or another. I can't remember all the specifics. Thankfully, he's out now, too. Thankfully, man. He got trapped he got stuck in there longer than everybody else. He got missed in the first wave of pardon.
Administration. That's another important point, is all this was being done to set the Whitmer hoax, all of that was being done under Trump's nose on his own administration. The FBI and the DOJ just carried on as though he wasn't president. That's why I like to see what I'm seeing now. They're finally purging these people out of the federal government, and they should.
I want to get into everything with you, and I want to get into January 6th and all of it, but obviously I really want to hear your view on the country and the world, as I really respect it. and just what you think the deep state's going to do, what we should be looking for, because you predicted Trump would come back, you predicted he would win, you predicted you guys would be released. And I remember, hoping and praying that was the case. But you were very confident and dead on. So you've been one of the most accurate people over the years and over the horizon. Tomorrow's news today, 35,000-foot view. What's your grade of the Trump administration? Where's the strong points? Where's the weak points? What do you think they're planning? What should we be looking for?
I think so far they're getting an A. This is a worldwide fight. I think we know that by now. This is about the elites of the world, which is a very small number of people, versus the people of the world. And we're seeing solidarity now for the common man across the entire world. We saw that in prison when Trump got shot. That's why I have this tattoo on my arm. I got this in prison when he got shot. You see that right there?
It's amazing. Yeah, maybe we can move the camera over there in a minute and get that. But yeah.
So when he got shot, every man in my cell block, black, Hispanic, and white, all stood up and cheered. And they were like, "Hey, Trump's a legit OG," because he reacted like a warrior. You can't fake that reaction. He stood up and he was pissed because someone took a shot at him. That was his natural reaction, and that's how a warrior fights back.
Well, I'm told by people that were there, and this isn't even really known, but I was trying to follow their rules and hold him down and everything. He started elbowing them very hard you see him thrashing. He was thrashing, and then when they're trying to push him off, he made them stop.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's a natural instinct. You can't fault him for that.
Well, no, he didn't want to. He wanted to be defiant and say, "I'm coming for you."
Yeah, you want to let them know that they're not going to stop him.
It's the opposite of faulting him. That you should give him credit. That's badass. He's like, "Fuck you guys, let me do my thing."
And that was that was the grace of God. God saved him, and God saved him for a reason, to save us and to save our country. But it's on us though to push. It's like when I first met Trennis Evans after I got out. That's the founder of Condemned USA.
This dude with the shades over here on the right, that's the new head of the Secret Service, right?
I met him outside the D.C. jail, and he said, "Hey, we're taking the high ground, but now we got to drive into the sea." That's the right mindset. We can't stop and rest. Got to keep pushing.
I agree. We've won the major battles. We've turned the tide. We're routing them. Now we've got to push them into the sea.
Right. You can't stop. And what I want to see is more of what they're doing, but faster, and especially on the exposure side. Back in 2020, I wrote up in letters to President Trump urging him.
And this is one of the things too. It's Doge is working so fast and so effectively and efficiently with exposing all this stuff that they're making everybody else look bad. You get a delay with the Epstein stuff, for instance, coming out as it's being obstructed all throughout there, and it probably seems worse than it is, but maybe because Doge is doing so well, we want everybody else to live up to that capability and get stuff done at that speed. But I have a feeling that there's a lot of obstruction that they're trying to work their way through and to actually get the information that they need. And I'm not willing to count it all out yet. I'm hoping that they're still really trying. Well, we'll find out soon, though.
To invoke the Insurrection Act and use his power as commander-in-chief to declassify all the dirty secrets that we know is how the elites are controlled. So expose them all, put it all out there, WikiLeaks style, throw all the skeletons out of the closet. That's what I advocated back then. And I'm starting to see indicators that could be coming, right?
That was my next question. You've been a D.C. staffer for Ron Paul. You've been a lawyer. I mean, you're not not just a veteran of Federal Oath Keepers. You know a lot about this.
Sounds good.
What is your view on Bondi, Kosh? A lot of people in the conservative movement or populist movement wanted to just be holier than thou and say it's a screw job last week when she put that out. She put a letter on that. She only learned the night before. I learned that from the whistleblowers that we had on.
Right. Before anybody even saw it or reacted, she was already putting the letter saying we're being screwed. They kept the information from us. So, indications that they still could legitimately be trying to get
who are in contact with the FBI guys that went and met with her. And she only learned the night before and put that letter saying, I demand we find everything. We're going to go after whoever did this, criminally. I want a criminal investigation. They've just taken over the ship. People can't expect them to dig all this stuff out. I mean, if I asked my crew for a video clip from somewhere, if they didn't help me, I'd never find it and hear them. This is a small, tiny operation compared to Trump.
Yes, so you're going to get pushback resistance, but that's why.
Yeah, Jones has an archivist specifically for that.
I want to see them purge out the old guard as fast as possible. They need to purge them out, because until they do, they're going to continue to get.
Well, we know it's Comey's daughter,
and Obama purged everybody. He fired Victor Davis Hanson. He fired everybody, put in loyalists. But then when Trump does it, it's a problem. These people are such hypocritical assholes.
We need to purge them out. Because until they do, they're going to continue to get.
Well, we know it's Comey's daughter and Comey that publicly have run the Jeffrey Epstein cover-up and that she ran the fake cases. So he needs to be indicted. He's the first one they said they're criminally investigating.
Good. Yeah, I want to.
True. Yeah, the criminal investigations are beginning, starting with Comey, who was the first one to start sabotaging Trump from the inside, even before the administration starts. So what I've been speculating about in my mind is we'll probably see investigations being launched one after another in the order of how it played out in real life. First, it'll be Comey. Then it'll be, whoever was next in line in the chain of events that sabotaged Trump. It's just going to go right down the line.
Who do you think the first targets, because we know they've committed crimes publicly, who's the most guilty? Who do you think the DOJ should indict first? Because I know they watch.
Well, I would say the two police officers in my case, Harry Dunn and Officer Lazarus, who both lied on the stand, were caught red-handed lying on the stand because they testified that they were together on January the 6th when they confronted the Oath Keepers. What actually Lazarus was under the Senate tunnels. He was under the Senate in the tunnels. And Steve Baker from Blaze.
That might not work, Dozer. A lot of lizards can just snap off their tails if they're under attack. So you got to get them by the neck. Like a jaguar hunting a caiman. We'll have a video of that in a little bit.
Found that video and proved it. So you got them caught red-handed committing perjury. They should be charged with perjury. Then they can roll over and make a deal and testify against the prosecutors who suborned their perjury. That's a felony. Subordination of perjury is a felony. Put them on trial for it.
And just like you said, gag orders, I know some of the lawyers that worked on your case and the Proud Boys closely, and they tell me stuff, off record, and I know you know this stuff. It came out, the feds and the operatives and the setup, and you guys weren't even allowed to defend yourselves. There was no evidence of the Proud Boys or Oath Keepers planning anything except if people were attacked. I was in those meetings with you guys at the Willard. We're like, what do we do if Andrew comes and starts shooting? Well, we don't have any guns. We'll just have to, whatever, and help women and children. No one was planning anything violent offensively. Total horse crap, and they showed no evidence at your show trials.
No, they didn't. All the jury was told is they could use our free speech as state-of-mind evidence to find a conspiracy. And the final instructions of the jury were that they could infer an implied conspiracy, an unspoken conspiracy to have been formed as the Oath Keepers walked up the steps to enter the Capitol. They were invited to do that. You could infer an implied conspiracy to exist as they walked up the steps, and you could use their first speech as state-of-mind evidence against them.
That's insane. Circumstantial evidence to implied conspiracy? Wow. Wow, they got nothing. So they're just saying, yeah, you can just infer a conspiracy since we don't actually have any evidence. These people are fucking evil.
And they went in 20 minutes after Congress had all recessed. They walked through doors that somebody else opened. So they didn't lead anything. They didn't breach anything. And inside, they actually helped police.
Our own Owen Schroyer went through nothing compared to you, but it's a perfect example. I showed the documents on air. In his indictment and then...
Yeah, good. Trump's smelly taint over there, good. Yeah, that's just exposing who the bad people are, the EU and those cunts over there at NATO. And the logical, rational position is to side with Putin on this whole thing. So, that's the deal. That's the deal.
In the court filings, they said, Owen Schroyer's never worked at InfoWars. He's perjured himself. He doesn't work there. Then they said he went in the Capitol. They said he was telling people to attack it. He was there trying to stop people, saying it was a setup. Owen had worked here 6 years before with his own show.
On the trigger over there.
I mean, the level of lies they put in the filings is just insane.
Well, and that's the problem with grand juries, is that the grand jury is fed a bunch of lies from the prosecutors. The defendant doesn't even know it's happening. You're not allowed to confront anybody there. You're not allowed to put any witnesses of your own behalf. The grand jury only sees what the prosecutors want them to see, and the prosecutors are allowed to lie, and their witnesses lie too. So you have a bunch of lying going on that starts the indictment. And once you're in that process, they just keep on steamrolling the lies.
How do they not get hit for perjury?
Because the judges let them do it. I mean, they're committing perjury and suborned perjury all over the place. And this is across the country. It's not just in J6 cases. It's going on in other cases, too. I was in prison with a lot of guys that were in there for ghost guns or ghost drugs, which means that no actual evidence was ever found. No gun was found, felon in possession of a gun. No actual drugs found. Just some confidential human source who's probably threatened with life in prison themselves, so they roll over and test a lie against other people. That's all they have. That's all they need.
Sure. What about hauling the cops in? Because that'll unravel the whole thing.
What up?
Where there's the guys in black break through. They're obviously feds, dressed, builds. And then they take the handcuffs off and high-five them. You got videos out where people are fighting. The cop comes up and the cop pulls a badge out.
Right.
I mean, we've got them. And the FBI director said no feds there. Now we know there were.
Right. So more of that will come out. That's why I want to see. I know Laudermilk has a new J6 committee, and we're volunteering to help. Me and myself and several other J6ers have already reached out to them through back channels and volunteered to help. So we can help them sort out, because we know where the bodies are buried. We know it was accurate, it was not in our own trials. So we're happy to help and happy to testify. But I really do want to see not just a congressional investigation. I want to see the DOJ assign special prosecutors to start indicting the people who committed perjury on the stand, and then the prosecutors who put them up to it.
Yeah, for those that don't know, I've talked to lawyers for all the major groups, because I was under grand juries and embroiled and being subpoenaed and testifying to Congress and all. And of course, they destroyed all the evidence. They want you to see what I said to them. I called them criminals to their face and literally said, I'm not going to answer any questions. You've already falsified evidence. Now, obviously, they've had to be pardoned, the J6 committee. But people don't understand. The lawyers in the cases were in behind closed doors with the prosecutors and the judges, literally bringing forward the evidence of the feds and the provocateurs. And the judges would say, we're not allowing that in, and you're all enjoying not to tell anybody. I mean, that is really criminal in my opinion.
Yeah, it happened in our case, too. Brad Geyer, who was an attorney for one of my co-defendants, did a lot of work gathering up all the evidence, all the video evidence of special teams running around inside the crowd. They would do something here, then they'd go someplace else, they'd reappear over here.
So they told these people, man, roll on Trump and you can go free. They tried to get him to lie.
They're obviously
yeah, these are feds right here. Keep going.
So yeah, so a lot of that was constrained by the judges. So we weren't allowed to show a video of Ray Epps, for example, the night of the 5th, saying tomorrow let's go into the Capitol, actually doing what we were accused of. We couldn't show that to the jury. We couldn't even mention his name. So a lot was kept away from the jurors.
And then the cops do fake arrest of him. It's totally sick. So you agree with Elon Musk? I mean, it peaked in the 80s and basically stopped after that. Almost no impeachment of federal judges. I have the graphs here.
Right.
And then people act like, oh, it's tyranny impeaching judges. No, these magistrate judges aren't even lifetime judges, and you can fire them, which Trump's been doing. And then these lifetime ones, no, you impeach their ass. We need to put the fear of God back in them.
Yeah, there has to be some kind of check. We're supposed to have a system of checks and balances, right? Well, that's one of the balances against the judiciary is the power of impeachment.
Yeah, look, here's the 1980s impeachments peak. And then look, they don't even happen now.
Right.
I mean,
Impeach them all. Impeach them all. So check out this full interview. Good stuff over here. In the meantime, let's do a little bit of a palate cleanser over at Weird, Fantastic, and Odd Things in Asia. How about this? I had not seen this before. The eerie remnants of Karakotum, referred to as the Black City, are located in the western Inner Mongolia, China, same thing. I don't know about that. Established in 1032, this city flourished for centuries as a key trading center along the Silk Road. However, by the end of the 14th century, it faced a mysterious abandonment, likely caused by shifts in water sources or conflict. Enveloped by sand for many years, Karakotum was brought back to light in the early 20th century, uncovering a trove of artifacts, including religious manuscripts, art pieces, and daily items. Take a look at this, man. Giant city, completely buried in sand, big square city over there. Is this even real, man? Like, this is crazy. Big square city with big walls, ancient, abandoned, and apparently there's a similar image of something on Mars as well, which looks pretty similar. Look at that. Big old square buried under the sands of Mars. This looks like possibly an image from the European Space Agency, ESA. But who knows, man? The humans may have been on Mars before Earth, which would be pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. So that's called Karakotum, this location over in Mongolia, I guess. Karakotum. Worth looking into. Kind of a cool little bit of a site over there. How about this? Let's get into the Zelensky being a fucking lunatic over here. Yeah, and that's right. For you, we're still on YouTube. I can't use that F word. For the flagget troll in the comments, fuck your boy Zelensky. All he deserves is pink mist. So here he is. Zelensky believes he owns the entire planet. He's essentially saying, give me your money or your blood. Look at this. Zelensky makes his most insane demand ever. The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters to fight, and they will be dying. This is nuts. This is absolutely nuts. Zelensky talking about American troops dying if NATO Article 5 is triggered, except now it will be British troops that UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he would deploy. Translation, EU/NATO are using the Ukraine war to hold the West ransom. That's right, Trump calling them on it. Listen to this lunatic over here.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying. The U.S. will have to.
What a fucking scumbag. Can you imagine? You know the saying, beggars can't be choosers? Can you imagine showing up at somebody's country who's like the only reason you're still alive is because we've been funding your fucking bullshit and giving us attitude, come over to beg for money and talking over the person that you're trying to bilk for money, and then saying that, you know, you're going to have to come fight and die. You're going to have to come fight and die. Let's listen to this again. How about no, Zelensky?
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war, and they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about, and they will be dying. The U.S.
No, that's not going to happen. And the Article 5 thing that they're talking about actually says that countries only need to take actions that they deem appropriate, that they deem necessary. So even if Article 5 is triggered, we don't have to go fight in fucking Ukraine. And they're not even in NATO. So like this is insane, man. You can't join NATO when you're already in the middle of a conflict and automatically try to trigger Article 5. So screw all these people. Screw Zelensky. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah. Keir Starmer announcing UK is preparing to put boots on the ground. And we saw Zelensky meeting with all the NATO leaders over there, standing in a big fucking, like, on a set of risers, like ready for a chorus concert. Looking like a bunch of losers over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and the President of France just both came out, I'll post the video of Starmer below, and pledged troops, planes, weapons on the ground as peacekeepers, but they won't be peacekeepers because no ceasefire agreement's been made. No, to fight the Russians. And then if any British or French troops get killed that are already there as advisors, but now it'll be public, well, now Article 5 is invoked and NATO will officially go to war with Russia. And Starmer goes on to say the United States has to back this. Well, Trump has to pull out of NATO right now, just like Elon Musk said last night, and the UN. They're the globalists. They're the tyrants. They're the ones encroaching on Russia's borders. They're the ones that have been bombing Russia. They're the ones that overthrew Ukraine. They've admitted all of this. And remember Zelensky back in March of last year, and again at the White House Friday saying, oh, you don't fight with us, you fight at home. They're holding us hostage. The EU is tyrannical. It's unelected. The EU Commission, they're arresting people for their speech. They're staging coups and
Trump says, send the illegals to fight.
Mania of populist presidential winners that don't want World War III. And they're holding us hostage for the money and for our prowess and trying to continue to drag us into this accelerated war. So again, I'll be on the air at 4 p.m. with all the clips, all the articles, all the geopolitical analysis, 4 p.m. Central, at Real Alex Jones on X. But this is a critical moment in history where the globalists are trying to hold the whole world hostage to their globalist order. The people in Europe want out of the EU. The people don't want to live under tyranny. The EU's got all these regulations and lawsuits trying to control U.S. companies.
What's up, Phil?
Trump's standing up to that. And because Trump's peacefully doing this with soft power, they are holding a gun to our head, ladies and gentlemen. So this is an incredibly dangerous moment in history. And the globalist scumbags, Macron and Starmer and others, are announcing they're going to send in massive numbers of troops, tanks, planes, everything as peacekeepers. This is as dangerous as World War II, except it's even more dangerous because now there's nuclear weapons involved. So you heard me right. Keir Starmer, British troops are going. It's being announced.
Insane. Yeah, good call, Ed. Let's go ahead and terminate the YouTube feed as we go Rumble and exclusive. Rumbling and X-streaming. That's right. That's what Bill Dozer calls it. Being an X-streamer. Oh, man. All right. If you guys can't open up a new tab and join us from YouTube over on the free speech platforms, we'll catch you on the flip side on Tuesday. But join us over on Alt Tech. You won't regret it. Make an account and come join us where the water is warm and we can speak freely. If you can't make it, see if my voice can do it now. Then you can come back tomorrow. But until then, let's get ready to rumble.